Yeah, this feels nice. This feels okay. Oh, hello. Welcome to the WakeUp Show. Oh, so good of you to tune in. Welcome. We're in the basement, and it's a Thursday. It's always a Thursday because it's every Thursday. That makes sense. But it's a special Thursday, it turns out, because this is a Holy Thursday. It's Easter, and me growing up an atheist, sort of non-religious guy, Easter, I guess, meant chocolates and like the egg hunt and stuff like that. But now, as I've matured, I wanted to sort of explore and try and actually find out a bit more what's the dealio, what's going on here. And it turns out that there's this Easter thing is like a thousands of year old tradition. That's insane. And I've just been there like 43 years. So it's about time then that we actually start to check this whole thing out. So I'm so excited because we have a wonderful guest today, and she's a priest, so she should have all the answer to everything we're wondering about, and then some. And I saw a Mel Gibson film. That was pretty cool. Why am I talking about the show like what's going on here? This is just nonsense. We're in the show. We can just do the show, and by that I mean run the intro.
Live from the Dream, aka Drummond, it's the Wake Up Show with your host, Wolf Thunder Flitty.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Yeah, it's been a great week, and it's just getting better by the minute, and it's a Thursday before the longest Friday, it seems, and to sort of make sense of all of that, well, this is the Wake Up Show where we figure things out, I guess. And if you like the show, if you want to support the show, we have this thing called Patreon, where you can support the show, make a difference, help me provide for my family. I don't know, there's 3, 4, there's more coming, and it's serious stuff. It's not serious, but if you become a Patreon, you get access to the ULF experience. And you can get like the real lowdown on what I'm doing with my wonderful life here in the dream. I am living the dream, And speaking of dreamy things, in the dream there is a chocolate bar, and you can get the finest ecologic vegan what's the name of this? White sugar, is it? It's all natural stuff, and it smells wonderful. Cacao from Criollo. Yeah, I think they import it from like Peru. That's pretty nice. Like they put thought and love into this product, and it smells delicious, and it tastes delicious too. So if you're in the dream, you should go to Criollo and ask for the Wake Up Show special. And if you're unfortunate and not living the dream, well, then I think you could go to like Eco Chocolate or something like that, and you can order their cacao or chocolate products to your home. And how great is that? I guess there's a plague and you're sort of stuck inside and you want to get some delicious cacao. Well, enough chit-chat. I have a guest here in the basement. We should invite her in. And Karoline, come into the studio and I'll applaud you. Have a seat. Well, hello.
Hello.
So good to see you, and so good to have you here on the show. Now, we met earlier this week because I invited you on the show, and also I asked you about communion. But you had a cooler word for communion, which was...
Eucharist?
Eucharist. That sounds way funnier, and we'll get to that later in the show. But this is Easter.
This is Easter.
This is Easter.
Yeah, a kind of Easter.
It's a different Easter.
Yeah.
Because there's a plague.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about the plague.
Some plague Easter.
Pleaster?
Yeah.
You're a priest here in the Dream at Strømsø Church.
Yeah.
What's up with Easter? What's up with Easter? We start with Easter because it's Maundy Thursday.
Yeah.
Which means washing of feet or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get you some cacao because you need something. But I guess it starts with Palm Sunday, is it?
Yes.
Give some delicious cacao. There you go.
Thank you.
Huh. Now, what I typically like to do, when I wonder about something,
yeah,
to get us started with the Easter thing,
yeah,
I go out into the dream,
yeah,
and I ask my fellow dreamers about Easter. Do you celebrate Easter?
Not religiously, just time of work and enjoying the free time.
Yeah.
No, really. I take free.
You take free time,
vacation.
But yeah, I do try to make something out of Easter, definitely. Like with Easter hunts and...
Oh, like the Easter bunny? The eggs or the egg hunts?
Yeah.
Do you celebrate Easter?
Not really.
Not really. How about you? Celebrate Easter?
Food-wise, yes.
Food-wise, okay. Cool. Why do people celebrate Easter?
I think they don't know why they celebrate, as well as Christmas. People who is religious, they do why, but so the rest is only because it's National Red Day.
It's just a day off.
Yeah. Jesus came back from the...
from the dead.
Yes.
Yeah, resurrection.
Yes.
I don't remember really, but I can say Jesus Christ, something like that. But that's
something Jesus Christ.
Something Jesus Christ. But I saying that for me it's a red day.
It's a red day.
It's a red day. That's the most important for me.
I mean, it is definitely from the Christian all the way back to when Jesus died on the cross. Like that's its origin. But how the bunny actually came into it, I really don't know. That beats me definitely.
Okay, so it turns out that the people in the dream think that Easter is just time off from work.
Yeah.
But they seem to sort of know that there is something more to Easter. Maybe there's an Easter bunny. There is this Jesus who came back from the dead.
Yeah.
Now, why do we celebrate Easter?
I think we celebrate Easter because of that resurrection was the beginning of all the Christian tradition, maybe then.
Yeah. It's sort of like the birth of Christianity.
Yes. We always say that without Easter, no Christianity or no church or no... Yeah. Because Jesus actually was a Jewish man.
Yes.
So the first Christians were Jewish people. But then afterwards they slightly became their own community, and then it started to be a new. It was a new religion, but that would never have happened without the life of Christ and the death and this resurrection, or that they felt that things were going on even after that.
It doesn't end here. Yeah. And as I recall, resurrection's fairly rare. Yeah. It doesn't happen too often.
No. No.
Which I guess would take all the whole point out of it, because this is something special.
Yeah. We can't just capture it in our normal categories or something like that.
No.
And then it was quite discussed from the start, because they only found this tomb that was empty, and that said nothing. Somebody could come and take the dead body away, and they said it from the beginning. It's just stories they tell. Somebody took the body away, nothing else. And then we have like this histories or these stories about people seeing light, or people seeing Jesus again. But they always say that he doesn't look like he has looked before. He was changed. It was not the same man, and he disappeared. He didn't stay. So there were like kinds of experience that were not. It was not the same. It was not just the same man coming out of the tomb again and
like
starting over
happened,
again, like nothing that happened. No. So it's difficult to say what kind of experience they had. But it was enough to continuing these practices and starting a new community around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is Easter to you, like personally?
Yeah.
I guess you typically, because you are a priest, you have a lot of stuff to do, except now it's different. But like, what does it mean to you?
It is a kind of story that gives the reason to hope. Somehow, because all our experiences is that people die. That's what we see every day. So
yes, they're poofed and they're gone. Yeah,
poofed and they're gone, and then they go down 6 feet under. And
but then this one time, something was completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah,
and there was a relationship between Jesus and these people. And the relationship continued, and the empowerment and this comfort and this, they were much more, what is it called? They were somehow empowered, or then they had a new being in the world, and that continued. The power of Jesus continued somehow in them. So and it's just until it's just until now somehow. So that's that's the mysterious thing, or the fantastic, or the inspiring thing.
Yeah,
easily said. But I always when I have to work at funerals, I always say that that's the only thing we see. We don't know what is happening what's happening after people's death. We just see that they die. But then we have this story, and if this story is true, then maybe there are more possibilities. And we can't be sure. We can't. We don't have no science methods to just demonstrate.
No, it's really hard to explore death within the realms of life. There was this. I don't remember who said it, but I liked it. Was like, when we see death, we sort of automatically think that that's what death is going to be like for us.
Yeah, but it isn't.
But
it's the same thing with birth.
Right, because you just see birth, and then it's like, oh, it's there. But for the person being born, it's a completely different experience. And obviously the disadvantage of death, or not the disadvantage, with the adding to the mystery, is like, they can never share this experience because
you won't experience it before you actually die. So I have talked with people about that, because we are lots of people going around on this earth wondering about how it could be. But nobody knows. No. But I think it helps me, this thought about that nobody knows how it's going to be born when you're in your mother's body. That's the same thing. That's Martin Luther. He used this picture. when he was writing about dying, he said to people that if you have to imagine that when you were born, you didn't know how it was looking there outside. That's a mighty thought. Or I like this thought.
Yeah, it's a nice. It's what's like the story of the two twins in the womb, and then one's like, no, we should just stay here. We should never go outside. Maybe there's more out there. It's like, no, this is safe and comfortable, and
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
And maybe
and
like
Easter, I think, but just coming back to Easter, and it's much more than only this story about death and resurrection. Of course, it's a story about friendship. It's a story about being sviktet, also being betrayed. It's a story about being high up and low down. It's a story about passion and violence and lots of things.
It's a very human story.
Yeah, it's the most human story maybe that is existing.
And maybe that's what's so compelling about it is that it's actually sort of like all the key ingredients compressed down into sort of like just one very dramatic incident.
And then
and at the same time giving us some sort of, I like the word hope. There is, because it's sort of dark because someone dies, but then it's like, it isn't all dark.
No, and then if Christmas means that God is coming into the world, and then he's taking part in everything that is a part of this life, including the death on Good Friday. Then Easter Sunday means that God still is God and has more possibilities than we have. That's maybe the most important thought for me. That we have a God that both experienced everything in this human life, but still it is God and can find new ways when we just messed it up so totally. And then I think about that all the people, so all this human powers in this world, the Jewish temple elite, maybe you can call it like that, and the political powers, and all the people crying, just nail him on the cross, and all this is present in our human communities and our life today. All this kind of bad spirit. To say it in English, that then maybe the resurrection means that God just can overcome this too. It is a hope that this can be overcome.
And we can sort of transcend this sort of state of...
can change it, at least. Can make something new out of it.
There's something sinister.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the word, or malevolent. Like it's this what I guess like the story of this guy who makes this sort of statement.
Yeah.
And then like society says, well, you can't do that.
No.
And it scares them, like because it sort of says anything is actually possible, but then it's like, but no, stop, like this is too much.
And they make him a victim. This is too much. But then there's still a deeper ground or a higher power or something that can raise this victim up again and say, you don't do that with my human beings or with my son.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's nice. That's a nice thought.
Nice.
That's maybe why I like Easter and the resurrection.
In all the darkness, there is light.
Yeah.
Something like that. I like that.
Yeah, but that kind of light, there's a kind of light that we can't manage to produce by ourselves.
No, in this human form, it's hard to... There are limitations.
Yeah. And in this incident on Good Friday and the end of Jesus' life, then we see all the human limitations at its, at its best or at its strongest, or you see that everything is just closing in against this man that were provocating so hard, And
Yes.
yeah, but then there's still some possibilities.
Now, so tomorrow, which is Friday, which is sort of like the day of his sort of death, but today, which is Holy Thursday or Maundy Thursday, where he has this Last Supper, and now you told me this Monday that Christianity has this ritual to sort of commemorate and remember the Last Supper, and I actually got to experience this, and we filmed the thing, which that's smart because we're a show. I think we can look at my experience with what was the word again? It's communion or
Eucharist.
Eucharists. Are you filming?
I'm filming.
We're in
on
the
this lovely Monday morning in the dream.
It's Monday morning in the dream, and we're doing communion. That's what it's called, right? Growing up, I was somewhat of an atheist, and didn't really consider, having my confirmation in a church. Did like a non-religious thing. Got married outside of the church. I didn't want anything to do with these religious institutions. But something's changed. She said that we can come in the front door. Do you think, does it work like that? Maybe I should knock harder. Can Jesus come up and play? No, I'm not going to be joking like that. That's not... Hello!
Hello!
The door is open. There we go. Hi. I shall give you a microphone device because that's more fun, because then we can hear what you're saying. Yeah. As you know, I have been baptized, but I cannot remember that really well because I was very small.
Yes.
But I have never had a communion.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about that. And I wanted to experience it. And here we are.
Here we are. Fader vår, du som i himmelen, la ditt navn holdes hellig, la ditt rike komme. La din vilje skje på jorden som i himmelen. Gi oss i dag vårt daglige brød. Forlat oss vår skyld, som vi også forlater våre skyldere. Led oss ikke inn i fristelse, men frels oss fra det onde. For riket ditt, og makten og æren i evighet. Amen. Dette Jesu legeme. Dette Jesu blod. Den korsfestede og oppstandende Jesus Kristus har nå gitt oss sitt hellige legeme og blod som han ga til soning for alle våre synder. Han styrker oss og holder oss oppe i en sann tro til det evige liv. Fred være med dere. Fred være med deg da, egentlig. La oss takke og be. Vi takker deg, himmelske Far, for dine velsignede gaver. Vi ber deg at du ved disse gaver vil bevare oss i troen på deg, forene oss i din kjærlighet og stadfeste i oss håpet om det evige liv, for din Sønns Jesu Kristi, vår Herres skyld. Herren velsigne deg og bevare deg. Herren la sitt ansikt lyse over deg og være deg nådig. Herren løfte sitt åsyn på deg og gi deg fred.
Yes. That was my first ever the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. Yes, thank you. And so this started on this Holy Thursday. At the Last Supper, that's when this tradition started.
Yeah, but maybe it started before too. Maybe it started when Christ was going around talking to people and going into houses, eating with people. And you know, there's a lot of dynamite in eating with people.
It is.
Or, eating with the wrong people. Or eating with the right people, wrong people coming in. And there's a lot of stories in the Bible about Christ eating with the people, at least. So that was a point, it was already a thing of his life. And it came to like this kind of, top point on this last evening. Because then it's also a Jewish feast. It is the Pesach, påske, the Jewish
Easter tradition.
And the Jewish Easter tradition, when they at least were remembering the people of Israel going out of Egypt.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was maybe. Actually, we think
because that's important to remember that in Jewish tradition, Easter commemorates the Jews escaping from
Egypt.
Egypt, yeah.
So that was the reason why they were eating together this evening also, because they were by themselves having a Jewish Easter. Yeah. And then it was also the last day of his life. And then he just combines this Jewish Easter tradition with something new, because he is taking the bread and the wine and then connecting it with his own life, his own body and his own memory.
Yes, he's sort of evolving the tradition and sort of taking it a step further. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. And then it is of course bread, because that's what you need to live. It's the most basic kind of food we have. And then it's wine, that is the festivity and this kind of
it's a celebratory drink. It's not water, it's wine.
It's just every day and so
it's the regular and extraordinary. Smart.
And then it's just blood is where the life is seated in the Jewish tradition.
Yes, and I guess without the blood we would just be sort of like a loaf of bread lying
maybe.
there. Nothing much going on. Yeah, that's interesting. And then he gets betrayed or something like.
The guy who betrays him is sitting at the same table.
Yes, because he's one of his
one of the disciples. Yeah.
Yes, and we'll get to that. Because I saw a film about, well, not the feast, but sort of like the thing that happened afterwards. But before I do that, talk about that film, which you haven't seen, it's okay, because you know all about the story anyways. I'm going to play a song on my guitar. Because it's, every talk show needs to have like have some music, Now I'm sorry. I'm working on learning the lyrics by heart. But I sort of do, but I have just to aid me a bit. Okay, sorry. Let's get this on. You think this microphone is okay? Yeah. Sorry. I'm messing it all up. People are like, why are you messing with the microphone when you're supposed to play the guitar? There we go. I keep fighting voices in my head saying I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just a sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. You say I am loved, but I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong, when I think I am weak. You say I am held, when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe, yeah, I believe what you say of me. Yes, I believe. The only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. 'Cause in you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. You say I am loved, but I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong, when I think I am weak. And you say I am held, but I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. 'Cause in you you have every failure, God, and you have every victory. You say I am loved, but I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong, when I think I'm weak. You say I am held, when I am falling short, when I don't belong. You say I'm yours, and I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, yes, I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Yes, I believe. Yeah. It's a nice song.
Yeah, it's a nice song.
It's empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love movies.
Yeah.
I do. Do you love movies?
Yeah. I quite see movies. I don't see enough movies now. I just don't see any movies at all, actually, now. But I like movies.
You like movies?
Principally.
Yeah. That's cool.
I don't know where it ended with me and the movies.
There's probably an explanation to that.
Yeah.
But let's dive into Ulf Loves Movies.
What's the name of the segment?
Ulf loves a movie.
Ulf loves movies. Ulf loves movies.
I love movies.
Ulf loves movies.
Yes, I love movies. And now what's important to remember is this is not a movie review. Because if you want to experience something, go experience it. Don't go ask someone, what do you think of this? Should I watch this? What, did you like it? Did you not like it? No. Now, because last week I watched this film called Signs, where this priest has lost his faith because of the death. And through these weird and random at first, but then maybe not so random events, he finds hope and faith. Now, the actor was Mel Gibson, and then I realized, well, he's made a film. And this film is called The Passion of the Christ. And when that film came out in 2002, the atheist Ulf was obviously not very interested in seeing a film about Jesus Christ, because why? And also I heard it was super violent and very like brutal, and it just, I didn't see like the point. I've heard the story, like why would I want to? There's nothing new, like there's nothing more there. So I never saw the film until Monday night, and I have to say that was a very intense and interesting experience. Yeah. Because what they've done is they've sort of taken, well, like the last 8 hours of Jesus's life, and portrayed it in a very there's a naturalistic manner, so to speak. Like, at least I felt sort of like the sinisterness and the rage and the fear in people that led to sort of the execution of this guy who is just walking around loving everyone and like just inviting everyone to the party, and they become so scared that it's like, no, it's, you know, the priest, we have a system here, and you don't start messing with the system, man, because you have to work really hard, and then you have to do like this and that, and then you can get somewhere. And it's like, but he's playing a totally different game. And at the same time, it's in all that, like, the ultimate nightmare of just being tortured and tormented. He just stays like dead calm. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he came here for. And it's like, there was this beautiful like scene where his mother Maria comes to him while he's carrying the cross, and she's like, it's horrible because it's her son, and he's literally like dying, and he's like, just like, I'm doing it. Like, there was something. It really like took a hold of me, like this. Like he's so sure of what he's doing. Like he's so grounded in his being, in a way that I'm just like in awe. Because, you know, typically, like, you know, you hit your toe and then it's like, oh, this is horrible, please. But he makes no compromises, but at the same time, he's just such a loving guy. And I have to say, like, in a sense, the violent aspect of it, for me, I felt like, this is horrible to watch, this is so hard, but at the same time, he is just sort of like holding the space of love in the midst of the worst things you can imagine. And that was I haven't seen too many Christ movies, I guess, so this was my first one, but I have to say there was something there, and also through flashbacks they sort of give whiffs of what Jesus is all about. And I found a clip which I think is from the Sermon on the Mount. And well, we can watch the clip. You have heard it said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. If you love only those who love you, what reward is there in that? There was something about like the phrase, what he's talking about, like, because, and even, you know, this 2,000 years later, give or take, we're still knee deep in hating people who we don't like and loving people we like. But it's so subtle, like love. Your worst enemies, love them and pray for them, because the horrible people have a horrible time. Just add to injury to just be like, you're horrible. I really like that scene, and like the core, which I feel like the movie also goes really like head on into, is like, well, can you pray for and forgive the people who murder you?
Do you think that you saw that through this whole passion story, or this whole torturing, that was some kind of embodying this sentence all the way?
Yes, sort of, and when I was crying like my heart out because it was so beautiful, is his being crucified, and he says, you have to forgive them.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. And at that current point, I was like, well, this is for me, because when I was watching the film, I thought these are horrible people. The priests, what are they doing? And like these friends who sort of abandon him, and everyone is just being assholes. And then he just says it like flat out. Have to forgive them. They have no idea what they're doing. Like, they're totally unaware of what's really going on. I really felt that, and I felt that the film really conveyed that to me, then at least.
Yeah. I mean, then it may be. I'm just always afraid of that. It's just glorifying violence.
Yeah.
That is this kind of glorifying this violence as something useful, because when Christ is taking it all on itself, then there is this logical about forgiveness and everything under there. That it was our trespasses he took and our sins he took, so that when this, it's also quite a big point where you're thinking about where this violence comes from.
Yeah.
Which I am thinking, and I hear you are thinking maybe, that this violence comes from the other humans.
Yeah.
But there are some people out there thinking that this violence is God's will, because he is just sacrificing his son to make this plan to go out with this plan, that when he is sending his son just to take all the sins, all the people's sins, then they will become. This is salvation. So that's why salvation happens. So, and if you turn it this way, I think it's horrible.
Yeah.
But if we turn it the other way and think that, okay, this violence is coming from the other humans, it's coming from the world and not from God, then it's not glorifying violence in the same way. But I think this is a different, it's a big difference. I don't know if you understand.
No, I understand where you're sort of getting at. Is sort of like the perspective of, and I guess that would be like, so in the grander scheme of things, so God's plan.
Yeah.
And then like, is God's plan like sinister, and is he like just torturing to prove like some sort of weird point?
Yeah.
But I have to say, like. I think, growing up, I grew up in this country, which is a Christian country. So we had they taught Christianity at school, and we obviously learned the story of Christ, and when I saw this film, I sort of liked how brutally honest it was. Because it wasn't sugarcoating it. No. Like, it can quite easily sort of be turned into almost like a farce. It's like Judas is just being like, oh yeah, my silver dollars, but he humanized it in a way, and at least for me, like the fear that sort of was instilled in people because they're so afraid of change. And the change Jesus sort of talks about is so fundamentally, it's such a shift, right? And they're they're ready, but they're not ready, and it's all in love, but it's so, yeah, like you said, it's very brutal.
And then at least in the end, then, and the biggest black hole, yes, you can think, if you can take it, this word, if you can call it like that, that's when he was, and when he himself is crying out, that God has left him,
has abandoned him.
So that's why when it comes out as a Jesus Christ that just is going through it without being touched of it, then I think it's just it's darker than that, because he is hanging on this cross and saying, God has left me.
Yeah, that is a very and it's all the way sort of at the end.
And so this has to be into it, I think, because when people in this world are suffering, and then when they are sitting there thinking, now God has left me, then that's Jesus had started himself, and even then God hadn't left him. So this kind of feeling of that now I'm so down under in the lowest point, that I think that now God really has left me. Then God himself had experienced it. That's the paradox. It's so paradox that we just can't manage
I see
so then it's important for me that he's not just, but then I have to see the whole film, I admit. But then that's important for me, that he's just not going through this like without being touched, like a hero. No, that's important, because I don't think like that it was like that. At least we can't say it today how it was, but it's important for me that he is not a hero going through it with a kind of glory around his head, just suffering without suffering.
Yeah, like some sort of superhero, like Superman.
That's not like that
just
for me.
Sort of like going through the motions, and then. But I didn't experience it like that at all, and you know, I think, just speaking for myself, you know, it's this feeling, you know, the feeling of being abandoned.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, like oftentimes, because I think we've all felt this at one point or another. Is like, this makes no sense, and what's the deal? Like, this is absurd, and how to continue in this chaos or whatever. But then at times I've sort of like sort of tried like to lean into this feeling, or like could you sort of embrace the idea that you as a human have this connection inside of you, and trusting that the connection is there, as opposed to like looking at like, give me all the signs so I know that it's true. But the ultimate test is sort of like just dead silence. Like, can you still trust that it's there?
Yeah.
Even if there is not as much as like a single whiff of sort of God's grace, or call it what you like.
Yeah.
It's just nothing, and sort of, can you still stay grounded in that?
Yeah. But then I think
hard.
This feeling, maybe the birthplace of this feeling is this Jesus cry on the cross, that because it happens, the Easter happens afterwards.
Yeah.
So then maybe we can think that even if we are in this kind of feeling where there's nothing, then still maybe we can trust.
You know, I've named this. I've given a name to this place, and I like to call it the place where nothing works out.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
that's there.
Oh my God, I'm at the place where nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's here.
Yeah.
This is the place where nothing works out.
Yeah.
In Lego.
Yeah. Yeah, and in life.
And in life. But yeah, this Jesus Christ, you know, I thought about it, and you know what I like to do if I think about something? I go out into the dream and I ask my fellow dreamers about Jesus. Jesus, man or myth?
Well, that's really, I mean, open to interpretation, isn't it?
It is, yes.
I mean, I guess like he could definitely be a mix of both.
I believe that he was a man like me and you.
Maybe a man, but I don't believe all the fuss around him.
Like the miracles, or the stories?
I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian. No.
I think it's myth.
It's myth.
Yeah.
Yeah, like any religion, no one can prove it that it was or it wasn't. But yeah, true. I would say it's a myth.
What do you think he was about, or what's like the deal with this guy? He died a long time ago and we're still talking about. That's sort of impressive, I guess.
Well, we need someone to believe in. We all need something to believe in. Something just survives over the years and becomes tales about good deeds and good people. So I think it's just about that.
Well, I guess like full disclosure, I did actually grow up in like a very Christian family.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, as a child, I did definitely believe that Jesus was, real. And but now I think like that he is just, I don't know, like God and everything is just everywhere. Like it is a part of everyone, and it's not really one person, maybe.
Yeah, so that was the Dreamers talking about Jesus. And obviously the question was somewhat ambiguous, was like man or myth. And I guess because what typically it seemed to me, and what I typically did before, was where like, well, was he a real person? Like question number one, like did he really live? And obviously the second question would typically be, and did he have magical powers? Yeah. There are these tales of him doing fantastic things, and then we'd be like, well, are they true? And then now later on, I'm sort of more like, but that seems so mundane to talk about it, like strip it down to like, well, can we see his birth certificate? And I don't know. What are your feelings about this Jesus man?
I think that I was not really in love with him from the beginning.
You didn't have a crush on Jesus?
No,
like a poster on your wall as a teenager?
I think maybe it was the most difficult thing to love for me in the Christian faith. Or I thought about that God was creator. That's a thing I can relate to.
Yeah, so that's like the creator.
And then the creator, and then the Holy Spirit also. There are lots of people think that the Holy Spirit is really difficult, but I think I like this thought of that people are interconnected and there's something working with people or in between people, and we can be. Meaning can come to us and relation can come to us from outside, so that's a thought I liked. But then this man, he was an historic person. Of course he was. It is true. It's not this. We can see it because we have the historical. But we don't know. There were some other magic people, so he wasn't the only one. And then how could I think it was difficult for me to think how I could have a personal relationship to this man or this figure in all these histories.
Because I guess God and the Holy Spirit are timeless entities.
Yeah.
Whereas Jesus is like time-stamped into our linear histories, like it happened then.
Yeah.
And sort of the repercussions are sort of what we're seeing in linear time.
Yeah.
Whereas the Holy Spirit and God seems to me at least, to exist sort of, well, sort of permeate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Regardless of what time you're in.
But then slightly, I understand that it is a fantastic thought that God, also this what we are calling, that God is in the world, that God has been in the world in a human body. Yeah. That is a fantastic thought somehow, even if it's really mysterious or complicated to understand, but that we have a God that is so in touch with what he had created, that he's going into it, and then he's going in he is in our real life, not as Jesus, but as the Holy Spirit now, but he is there somewhere. And that's, of course, then the story of Jesus is like a kind of definition about what human is meant to be and what God is looking like with a human face. So that was maybe the first thought that helped me to get in touch with this story. And then I see that this histories about Jesus meeting people, they are really deep mirrors for human experience somehow, that I can find lots of and it's lots of empowerment in it. So that's why I kept in touch with these stories. So now I think that, and then so it was a kind of puzzle, and with some time, it felt in place, and now I can see and I believe in Jesus Christ. But it was not the first thing I thought was easy.
No. I remember I struggled with this Holy Spirit thing.
Yeah.
Didn't get it at all. I guess until I had spiritual experiences myself.
Yeah.
Where you sort of feel this connection to something greater than yourself.
Yeah.
And then I guess depending on what glasses you are wearing culturally or from your upbringing, you will sort of it'll sway you in different directions, and obviously for me personally, I sort of, as I said, grew up very like non-religious, was very angry at religion actually, and then had this sort of like a shift where I sort of realized that, for one thing, I took the whole thing literally, which is pretty silly, like that would be like taking love literally, like, oh yeah, it's when you get like a kiss on the cheek and then you are in love, and it's like, oh yeah, and so I must get the kiss and then I am in love.
But it's very common, it's a very common expectation that it has to be actually like it's written down, and if you want to be a Christian, and you have to believe in every word and every rule and every so you're not the only one.
No, I am not. No. But I find it so interesting, and also I guess there is what I find to be somewhat interesting is like, so growing up, I felt like the world would be a better place without religion. Like if we took religion out of the equation, somehow that would solve the sort of puzzle. And now I find myself in this interesting situation where the world has gradually sort of revolved towards that. And I'm like, well, wait, I think maybe we're sort of the baby with the bathwater type situation, where there is something that religion sort of points us in the direction of, which science cannot. Like we talked about death, science has a very limited the possibilities for science to sort of explain the afterlife or explain what's outside of creation is really difficult, because we're inside of creation. So it would be like a computer game explaining outside of the computer game that they're in a computer game. And I thought that was sort of like, and one of the reasons why I do this show is also sort of like to shine a light on that there seems to me that people are still doing interesting and good things in the world, even though at times it feels like we're exactly where we started with sort of the Jesus story, where people are just sort of like pointing their fingers, and forgiveness is miles away, and empathy and love is sort of like a well, there's too little of it, and I guess then it's up to us to actually help improve the situation by being ourselves, and actually, like, for instance, what I really like about the Jesus story is that there is something about his sort of shining a light to, like you said, what we humans are capable of if we just stop being so sort of full of ourselves and have these ideas that we are sort of somehow separate from everyone else, and that this is some bizarre competition where at the end there is like well, you won and you lost, and then it's like then we all lose, because.
And it's just this simple rule that you should love God, you should love yourself, and you should love the other one. Yeah. And that's it's difficult to live it, of course.
Yes.
To the fully amount, but it's just if we manage to get to come in this kind of, it's like a kind of balance where you have all these canals in order. I mean, it's difficult to explain, but I think it's a good thought. Yeah, you have to have contact. You have to be in contact with yourself. You have to have empathy, or to concentrate on the other, and then there's something that is not me or not you, but there's something more than the other canal is also there.
Yeah.
So, and then it's flowing. If it's flowing, then it's good.
Yes, like a river.
Yeah.
It's going with the stream, not against it, or holding on to the side of the river, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. But I thought, when you say that, you just think that where is all this magic and religion, and where are people, because it seems so flat when you were talking about how actually times are, that it seems so flat now, that religion is no longer a common thing. But I think when I am meeting people, there's lots of faith, there's lots of experience, spiritual experiences, but there's people don't have they are not used to talk about it,
no,
and they are
that's
ashamed
a very
of
good
it,
point,
and
because it's become sort of like a secret again.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
it's taboo. When you are asking people on the street, are you believing in Christ, then it's almost impossible to say, yes, I do, if you're not a very, very, very religious,
you're an outspoken religious person. Because I guess now the right thing to be, it would be like skeptical, or like show me sort of like the science behind of this, so I can sort of say yes. This is a double-blinded test, so we know for sure that this is true.
But the experiences are not gone away.
No.
And faith are not going away from people's lives.
But I realized at some point, like, for speaking for myself, that I used to be a man of science, so I had to prove everything. But then in the shift, I became a man of faith, where I realized that you can't prove everything. And some things you just have to sort of let it go and sort of trust that it is. I would sort of coin it more as to the core question. I would be like, is the universe a good place that's sort of there for you, or is it a ruthless, horrible place that's rigged against you? And from what I can tell, it seems very strange to choose the latter, because then this place becomes, well, hell and a nightmare. Like, and what's so interesting, and I think there's this Canadian guy, Jordan Peterson, talks about this a lot. Is sort of like when you sort of submerge yourself into sort of this idea that the world is not worth saving because all humans are horrible, which is sort of like a Cain and Abel type approach. then this becomes a horrible place because you're not taking care of it, and you're just adding fuel to the fire, which is I find that very interesting, especially because when I look back at myself, I realize that in very many situations I, through my sort of thinking and looking at the world, made it a worse place because I sort of put a negative spin on it, like things were bad, not good. And for me, like grounding it in like, this is a good place. And I guess that was what I really liked about the Jesus story when I watched it the other night, was like, he's so 110% sure that this is a good place because he, as you say, is the creator, experiencing his creation through the human form, and he knows. But even he, at one point, becomes, oh my God, no, I have, this is too much. This is and there's some humanity in that, and there's.
And it's actually not only a good place, I think it's a mixed place.
Well,
even if we don't have the explanation of this evil, that's always the difficult question for all religion. Where does the evil come from? And we don't have this explanation, fully good explanation, because we are not willing to believe in an evil God, but we are not willing to believe in another power sending the evil.
Like an evil power sort of working against it.
And it's difficult to think that, okay, all the evil is coming just from the evil human nature also. Yeah. But it is a mixed place, of course. And the world or life is mixed up with good and evil. But of course, when you are just trying to focus on the good part of it, or just doing good things self, you are not guaranteed that you get a good life afterwards.
No, but I guess there is something about like the labels we put on our experiences, like, oh, this was a bad experience,
what
this
is
was
bad
a
and
good
what is good,
experience. And I guess from that perspective, you know, I guess Jesus, through example, sort of said, well, I will have any experience, almost like I will actually experience this, and I will still love you, which I found, and I guess like mythologically speaking, in the Bible there is this story of the flood. Yeah. Which is a very different approach to human sin, where it's like, let's just start the whole thing over and see if that works out, which, like, the story, I think, tells beautifully is like, well, that really doesn't solve anything. That's a very strange approach to creation. It's like, well, every time things sort of don't work out, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Marvel universe, but there is such a thing that Thanos will flip the gauntlet, and then he resets everything, and then things will be good again. Yeah. And I sort of think back to the Jesus story, is like, this is a completely different approach. Yeah. It's not like eliminating the bad seeds, but it's planting a good seeds, and by example, this will inspire.
And that's also a thing I think I experience when I am talking to people, that it's not that easy to categorize experience as good or bad experiences. No. So because when you get ill, or when something is suffering, when you have to suffer, then it's not only bad. It's just mixed up that too.
It's very complicated.
It's so complicated. So all this simple category, they doesn't work, at least.
No, this black and white approach, I guess. Yeah, it's very complicated.
Yeah, it's just my fault, maybe doing things more complicated as they are, but
that may be actually the human condition.
Yeah.
You know, I did ask my dreamers one last thing.
Yeah.
Which is, what do they believe?
Yeah.
What do you believe in?
what I believe in.
Yeah.
Kindness.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I believe also in love.
I don't need to believe in anything. I just believe in myself and.
As long as you, as she's saying, believing in yourself and believing what you are doing, that's the most important. I don't have anything more to say.
I like that, but I think it's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like believing in yourself. That's pretty powerful.
And everyone should do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to trust a book or a person or whatever to showing your way.
Trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Yeah, trust yourself.
But I guess that begs the question, what do you believe in?
Yeah. I also believe in love and kindness.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I think maybe that God is the source of love and kindness.
Right.
So that's how it comes together then.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, it was, I had this, I was looking up at the night sky, you know, it's mostly black.
Yeah.
And then there are some stars.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot of them, I've heard. They've tried counting them. It's a difficult exercise because it turns out that this universe is possibly infinite, and then counting an infinite number of stars will take you an infinite number of time, I guess. But as a kid, I was afraid of the darkness of space.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing.
Yeah.
And you know, in films, and you know I love movies, and people who end up in the nothingness of space, they die. So it's like, you don't want to go to space. Like the space is nothing.
Mm.
And then I was contemplating this, I was looking at space, and I was like, but it's all love.
Mm.
And if you look up at the night sky and you see that you are actually living on a planet that's floating in love, in a universe that is 99% love, and then there are some stars and planets that's sort of like just floating through it. We are all connected with what we can label God, or people will name it many things, but because you are a priest, it seems very perfect to call it God, because we have this word. And that's sort of, I don't know, it was a comforting feeling. And again, like I talked about, like this, it is chaos. It's so complicated that we can't wrap our heads around it. But if we dare to believe that this place is inherently good, and regardless of this sort of the love that we're floating around in, doesn't necessarily mean good or bad. It just is. And
do you know that's the old name of God, of course, in the
yeah,
Old
I am.
Testament. I am what I am.
Yeah. And it's sort of hard to wrap your head around. Like, what does that even mean? What is that? But it's also sort of like stopping with the questions and like sit with it. And I don't know, like I try to sort of appreciate this experience and not label it, but also sort of like it's all love. But it's hard, right? Because sometimes horrible things happen, and it's like, well, but how does that fit into the mix? And then I try to remind myself, and then someone gave me this beautiful picture once. You know, you're in traffic. There's like you're on the motorway, and there's a pileup, so no one's getting anywhere, and you're sitting there in your car. It's like, I'm going to an important meeting. I have somewhere to be, and this is horrible. And then you're looking outside, and you just see other angry people, and you're having a horrible time. But if you were to zoom out and look down on the motorway, you see all these cars, you see these beautiful patterns, and you see the big pictures, and maybe even see the explanation as to why the traffic is the way it is. And then you suddenly realize that the complexities of this thing that we are in is this beautiful metamorphosis, it's this beautiful happening, that it's always happening. It's not stopping. It's always evolving. It's always pulsating and growing, and we're a part of it. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I like that. Then when I was studying theology, then I met some teachers that actually said that God is process. It's not a big plan. It's a process emerging with all creation, and that helped me because then because I also see that complexity.
Yes.
And if to believe means that I just have to lay all this complexity in a skuff, in a
drawer somewhere,
and then just find an easy plan or an easy structure or dogmatic. So now if you believe this, then it wouldn't work out for me. But when this is kind of process happening, and this complexity has it has the capacity to room all this complexity into it, then I can manage.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. How are we on time?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
You have to watch the clock.
But he's in charge of time. He's the time. I have
You're just flying
long
up
time
in the
realize
universe.
that I am a timeless being, and we just have to make someone else control that. But I think I feel like we landed pretty nicely there.
Yeah.
And I think there is to wrap up the Easter thing. So tomorrow is sort of like the day of sort of death.
Yeah. So that's also the most silent day in the church year.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the black day, so we just cover everything with black.
But the resurrection,
and there's no when we are reading the story of Christ dying, then we just take this big candle, this Easter candle, and then we just take the flame.
Take the flame of the candle.
Yeah.
That's very beautiful and very heartbreaking.
Powerful.
It's so powerful. Yeah.
And then when the Easter night comes, then we are getting a new candle, and then we light the new candle of a campfire. We are just doing this liturgy in the dream too. Just my colleague in Bragnes, she's making a campfire, and then he's lighting the candle, and then it starts all over again.
Yeah, and then it's because it's
a
like
new year, and then the story is as always.
Yes.
Yeah.
The resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot of beautiful images or symbols to. But at first we have to be in this silence and death. We have to be there one day. Just
sit
holding
with it,
just staying there.
Yeah.
It's also important, I think.
Yeah, that is important. Yeah.
Even if it's uncomfortable, we have to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it is a part of reality.
It is.
This experience of death and suffering is a part of people's lives.
Yes,
so
because
I
have
just
checked.
Zoom out and fly up in the universe.
No, you can't.
You have to stay there.
Yeah, we are
and
here.
Be there together.
Yes.
And
yes.
just, okay, now we are here.
Yes.
It doesn't make no sense.
And
today.
With the exception of this one fine fella, everyone dies.
Yeah.
So the lesson will not stop repeating itself.
No.
And everything dies.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a part of life.
Yeah.
And it's poetic, but it's also not always easy to sit with.
No.
That's true, because we want to keep everything, and
yeah.
not the fear of losing stuff.
There's nobody of us that's really looking forward to die, of course.
No, but then again, then this experience would be. How would this experience be without it?
Yeah.
Let's imagine for a second, no one dying and nothing. Then
yeah.
It sort of takes the
no possibility neither.
There's the experience sort of relies on it. When at the end of the show,
yes,
I typically find a quote on the internet.
Okay.
That I think sort of works well with tonight's episode. So this is my daughter's iPad, and now we shall see if I can find a quote. I like this quote. This is a good quote. And I would like you to read. Would you mind reading it into that camera? I'll give you the iPad like this. And you can read it.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, I remember this song. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change.
It's a song.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah. And you know, it was this Jesus thing where I feel like he embodies that change.
Yeah.
Because he's not sort of asking the emperor to change. He just sort of just himself, and I found that to be quite inspiring.
Yeah, it comes with a cost, but it is inspiring.
Yes, there's a hefty price tag. But then again, it's like, would you rather be someone else than be yourself? Like, would you? It's very typically, you know, but looking at someone else, like I would like to have that life. Which I think there's even a commandment saying like you shouldn't be wanting someone else's things, and I think that's an important reminder. You know, it's like you, and that's exactly who you are supposed to be. If you were someone else, then you were them, but you are you, and I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah. I agree.
Thank you so much for both the wonderful communion experience, and I'm so looking forward to the churches opening up again, so I can come to a regular mass and sit with other people and experience the sort of collective group experience. But I feel very privileged of being able to experience that. So thank you for that, and thank you for being a guest on my show.
Thank you for asking for it.
And from the bottom of my heart, which is bottomless, by the way, I love you.
Oh, thank you.
And to all my viewers, I love you too. And if you want to be a patron, don't mind if you do, you know, and if you like cacao, go to Criollo and have some cacao, or ask for the Wake Up Show special. Is it too on the nose, do you think, or is it? I think it's okay.
The circle is round from the beginning.
Full circle, just like the cup. It's like around, or the moon, everything, Now,
the cup.
Markus, I love you, man. Thank you so much for handling the technicalities. So great. We end with a song. And we are playing my favorite song because a more perfect song for such a moment in time I cannot think of. And that song I know by heart. So that's also a plus. And tune in next week.
Happy Easter, I have to say. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter! And I would hug you if there wasn't a plague. But we'll have that for next.
Forbidden. It's forbidden.
It's forbidden. That sounds. Okay. Okay. My body won't hold me anymore, and it finally sets me free. Will I be ready? When my feet won't walk another mile, lips give their last kiss goodbye. Will my hands be steady down my fears, my hopes and my doubts, the rings on my fingers and the keys to my house. With no hard feelings, when the sun hangs low in the west and the light in my chest, it won't be kept held at bay any longer. When jealousy fades away and it's ash and dust for cash and lust, and it's just hallelujah. And love in thoughts, love in the words, love in the songs they sing in the church, and no hard feelings. Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone, kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. When my body won't hold me anymore, and it finally sets me free, where will I go? Will the trade winds take me south through Georgia grain, tropical rain, or snow from the heavens? Will I join with the ocean blue, or run into my Savior true, and we'll shake hands laughing and walk through the night, straight for the light, holding the love I've known all my life, with no hard feelings. Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone, kept me afraid and cold, so much to have and hold. Under the curving sky, I'm finally learning why it matters for me and you to say it and mean it too, for life and its loveliness and all of its ugliness, good as it's been to me, I have no enemies, I have no enemies, I have no enemies, I have no